It's my pleasure today to introduce Charlie Kerrigan from VIL Landscaping. At 17, Charlie is the founder and president of VIL Landscaping. What started as a 10-year-old kid knocking on doors with a push mower turned into a full-fledged landscaping business with 9 employees. He started his company at 14 and is a grade 9 student with a bike, lawnmower, wagon, and a phone number written on the side. With school being online, he devoted plenty of time and energy to growing his business. While other students might have seen online learning as a challenge, Charlie saw it as an opportunity. Charlie is a true testament to the power of youthful entrepreneurship. By the remarkable age of 17, Charlie had already established a thriving 6-figure landscape business. This extraordinary achievement, coupled with his innovative approach to design, dedication to customer satisfaction, and commitment to sustainable practices, set VIL Landscaping apart. Please help me welcome Charlie.
Thank you, Ryan. Look forward to it, guys. Thank you for coming out here. We're going to talk about a few things that I've struggled with to get to the point where we're at and leave you guys with a few takeaways going back into your life personally and with the business for you to go home with and improve on. Now, we've all felt stuck, fell into ruts, had rough times, and not producing as much as we would have liked. Knowing that there's more that we can output, there's more that we can do sucks. And that fire under our ass is really, really hot sometimes. Time for a change, and I've struggled with this multiple times. And why I'm super passionate about it, we all talk about business. What's our top line? What is our bottom line? But we don't talk about what we're doing. What are we taking care of ourselves at home, the machine that runs our business, being our body too, right? We're going to start with health. We're going to talk about health super briefly and how does it relate to our day-to-day output, our production, what we're producing. Once we're understanding that, we're going to walk through a few things on what are we actually working towards and do we have clarity on that? We can be driving, but we might be driving backwards. It's all very tough. All these things are not the easiest, but why are we doing it? Do we understand our why, our purpose? That North Star for us and for everyone is fully different. But you'd be surprised how many people don't give it thought or don't prioritize the importance of it, right? And the last thing, the fifth thing I want to leave you guys, and we'll hit on at the end, is turning pro. Athletes have an amazing excuse to have their programs dialed in, their day-to-day, they're at home, they're eating, their sleep schedules. They have an excuse because their bar is set so high. But I feel that's missed within contractors, within business owners as well. And we can do the same thing. We're here to become pro, to be the best. We're not getting dressed up for nothing. We're not doing this to do a half-assed job, right? We all start this to be somewhat decent, to serve our clients, to serve our family, to serve people working for us, right? So a bit about me. Who am I? Why listen to this kid? So 2020, I had enough of school. They pissed me off. I was in business classes learning from a guy who never ran a business before. It didn't make sense to me. So 2021, we're like, okay, we're going to start cutting grass. We're going to do something I enjoy, being outside. I got dismissed from my mother's house. She wasn't supporting what I was doing, which was fine, but added another layer of fun and excitement to the game business. Then later in that season, end of 2021, my health was not dialed in, was not where it was supposed to be. Pneumonia put me out for months, and I didn't have things in place that I should have. I didn't have guys trained to where they should have been. And going into September, when a lot of my guys went back to school, we're in a really, really tough spot. I wasn't able to make decisions clearly. I wasn't able to be as sharp as I should have been. So that's really what started and sparked my interest in this side of our life by design. Now we're employing 15 guys. We're doing just under $2 million in revenue out of Oakville, doing lots of construction and also some maintenance work. I started looking around, asking some questions, talking to guys that I looked up to that were doing things that I wanted to achieve eventually. And it took me a while to wrap my head around why they were able to output on these 12, 18-hour days regularly. They were still able to operate. They were sharp, but they were still able to go out on the boat when they wanted to on the weekend. They had a great relationship with their wife, their kids. And digging into this there's a lot more than just running your business. They're receiving shower thoughts from their employees. Their employees were thinking and caring about the business when they were at home. It was a lot more than just a transactional experience. They were able to create the life that they wanted opposed to it running them. They designed it. Now, the biggest thing for me was I looked in the mirror. Am I someone who I'd like to work for? Am I someone who I would like to be in a relationship with? Would I look up to me as a boss? Your employees don't choose their job, they choose their boss. And a lot of this starts with you, and it's quite overlooked, I feel. Two examples here, either side of the spectrum. Jake, our tree farmer, we used to work with this guy early last year. We probably did maybe $30,000 of business with him until I just got fed up and it was costing us too much to actually work with him. It was just a pain in the ass. He wouldn't answer his phone calls. He wouldn't get back to us. He was sloppy. He was fat and overweight. He can't even take care of himself, never mind us as a customer. And I was like, whatever. We're living a world of abundance. We're going to go and deal with someone else. And I'm sure your clients probably have the same thoughts when working with you or employees or children, right? So I feel that it's the lifestyle that's a choice that has control over your output and what you're producing in the business. Now on the other side, one of our hardscape foremen, Mark, what he produces is amazing. He runs his guys, he runs a very tight ship. They're always prompt. He takes care of clients to the nth degree. He's amazing when he's at work, but I don't feel a lot of it starts when he's at work. He's religious about his 8 hours of sleep, his sleep schedule, religious about going to the gym, religious about he meal preps for his week. Otherwise, he says he's too busy and he just doesn't eat throughout the week when he's working, which I'm the same way. I don't think it's a coincidence, his performance at work, how much preparation happened behind the scenes when the lights are off, when no one sees it. Many people would think he's distracted, he wastes his time. I think otherwise. So as business owners in every business, as you go through the org chart, we have different levers. As the business owner, you have access to all these levers. You have access to all these resources in order to create a result. What's going to give me the biggest return? Now, the same with your managers, they just have less. The same with your foreman, they just have slightly less. Your field crew, your laborers, they're given a task and have limited resources. Now, it's kind of scary to think about us having all of these resources and can change our business by making one wrong decision, or maybe it's a right decision. But if we're not clear and we're not in the right headspace, it's scary to think how fast that ship can sink if we're not dialed in. No one is going to care more about your business than yourself. And we've been fortunate to learn that the hard way. All comes back to looking in the mirror. Your work matters. You're feeling groggy, you're unmotivated, you're lazy. Your guys see that. If you're not caring the most about your business, you shouldn't be in the spot as a CEO or as the president running your organization. A lot of times we've done a really good job at delegating. And I think we take that for granted. We've built amazing management teams. We've brought in amazing managers. We've got amazing guys, amazing office staff. But we use the excuse as the owner to step back and say, it's okay, I'm just putting out fires. I'm just running around all day. I'm the owner, it's fine. No, it's not fine. You're not doing the deep work you need to. You're not pushing the needle forward. This past season, we felt our main location was under control. It was running. We had a great team in place. So we're like, you know what? The more the better, right? Let's start another location. So it was super cool to experience. I was out in Newmarket. I was out there for 2 months helping get it off the ground. And it didn't matter how you felt or any of that. It had to get done. And the meeting with clients, the knocking on doors the next day. If there wasn't work in the schedule, you had bills to pay, you had a machine to run, you had to do it. It didn't matter how you felt. And it was cool coming back to the bottom after having so many options, their main location, of if I didn't feel like something, I didn't really have to do it the next day. We had a great team in place. And us as owners using this excuse so often as we're the owner, we can relax, or we're the owner, we can do unproductive things. It really opened my eyes to that. So we're our own machine. You're not going to put diesel in your gasoline truck. Same with us. We need to be conscious of what we're putting in our body. You guys, and myself included, some of us, we wake up tired. Like how does that work? You get 10 hours of sleep and you're still tired? Maybe something's wrong. So we're going to dive into the big 5. I've broken this down into 5 quick things. We're going to leave you guys with actionable steps to take home and change a few of these issues. What does being healthy mean? Personally, it means being sharp, being able to quickly make decisions, how you operate, respecting yourself, respecting the machine that runs everything, your business. Anything can happen to that, but you're still going to be stuck with yourself and the lessons that you interacting with people. Going back to our tree farmer, he was unhealthy, he wasn't in shape. He can't take care of himself, never mind us as a client. You're hiring someone. Are you going to pick some fat chick that can't take care of herself, or someone who's in shape and looks after them? They can't look after their own body, never mind the roles that you give them on top of that. I think it's quite world class is very hard to achieve, and you're already losing just off the first impression. You're not in shape. You're not taking care of yourself. 35% of people are obese, not taking care of themselves. Again, I don't get it. It starts with what you're putting in yourself, right? Fake sugars, preservatives, high carbs, the discipline not to go out, not to eat fast foods, not to put shit in your body. Now, finding an outlet to circle back to output and production is different for everyone. But exhausting the body, exhausting yourself, getting your heart rate up, to tame the mind. My ADHD is nuts. I couldn't sit down without working out or without moving the body and still get deep work done. And that outlet's different for many people. Some people, it's video games and potato chips, and maybe that fires them up. I don't know. But why don't you hit two birds with one stone? Why don't you move your body and you get the same clarity on the business side? Now, we're talking about outlets. Kara mentioning, if you go down south for a weekend, if that allows you to get a 2-hour task done in half hour, amazing, then it's worth it, right? But 9 times out of 10, it's just your mind telling you bullshit. And we've been able to put protocols in place, put non-negotiables in place for yourself. We all have these in our businesses. We all have KPIs and SOPs within our organization, but we don't have it personally. But personally, I feel would matter more. So a protocol that works for us, and everyone, it's different. For me, one simple one is going away every quarter, opening my eyes to new things, kind of resetting. Anything more than going away more than that, I feel is just a waste of time. It's not going away when your buddy has some cool thing on the weekend. It's a protocol in place. The same with going to bed, like a bedtime routine. It sounds so cliche, but it works. The same sleep schedule. When do I go to the gym? When do I not go to the gym? It's like when you want to wake up in the morning, 5, 6 a.m., you're fired up the night before when you're setting the alarm. When you wake up, you don't want to get out of bed. We need to listen to our higher self so we can avoid how we're feeling. Our feelings shouldn't dictate what we're doing. The active upside of moving the body, confidence, right? Your think time, self-respect, the clarity, the endorphins that are running through your veins, through your body, how positive you feel, that goes into anyone who you're dealing with or talking to, whether you're selling a client on a job, whether you're managing a team, whether you're working with your family or whoever, right? How you come off is so important. And there's often lots going on in our mind. We need to tame the chaos. And it shouldn't be let out on people we see every day, people we work with every day. It shouldn't be let out on our family. Having outlets like the gym is so crucial. Sleep schedules. So REM sleep is so overlooked. And Huberman here has a few comments on it. He's got a podcast and he's a neuro surgeon is what he started off at, and now he just educates people. The importance of REM sleep. Your brain rests, repairs, consolidates memories, improves your memory, and improves your problem solving. How are we getting our REM sleep? Exercise in the morning, some cold exposure, whether it's a cold shower or cold plunge or whatever it is, and seeing sunlight, getting outside, moving.
What did you say coffee's good on that last note there? You said,
Yep. Coffee in the morning. When we're having coffee at 6 p.m., it's probably not ideal, But his point is get active and move and fired up in the morning. So when it's time for bed, you actually go to bed. Our health conclusion here: move, get your heart rate high, eat right, monitor what's going in yourself, your bedtimes, and make your own set of protocols. It's different for everyone, but we're all here to produce more. Let's increase our top line. Let's also increase our bottom line. Let's get a better culture. I think it all starts with us. Okay, we'll hop into production, output quickly. Of what are we producing, right? We measure all of our employees to the T, but we don't look at ourselves. What are we doing every day? The excuse of, oh, we're just an owner, we're okay to run around and put fires out all day is bullshit. Now, Elon here had quite an interesting comment of putting a 10-year goal. Do it in 6 months, and you'll most likely fail, but you'll get a lot further ahead than you would otherwise. And using our schedules, using deadlines, using pressure to be harder on ourselves I think it's great. If you have to be somewhere when you're doing a workout, you're cut down to only 45 minutes, you probably still get the same workout done. You just don't rest as much. Like, we're so soft on ourselves, and using our schedule, being aware of that, I feel is very, very important. Now, end of day versus end of week. I feel this is super interesting. When we have deadlines for our teams, when we have deadlines for clients, end of week is so commonly said, but your competition is doing by lunch, let's have this done by the end of the day. And you wonder why they're 7 times ahead of you by the end of the year. Faster moving pace at home and within the business. Moving with urgency is important. If you need a rest, go to sleep. But we're spending these other 12 to 18 hours just dicking around. Fuel and resets. Going back to this, I do feel this is super important, and finding our balance of what works for everyone. It's super, super different, but it is important. It is important for us to have clarity on what we're working on, for us to be clear on the decisions we're making, on where we're driving our business, what charges you, what resets you. Also being aware of what distracts us too, right? Going back to protocols. This is the protocol of what we follow. I don't care how I feel. So a lot of guys are like, oh, I'm going to outwork you. I'm going to run these long shifts, which is great. If someone's running, 20-hour shifts from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, by Thursday, they're fried, they're done. But it's finding what works for you. And maybe your highest output is between a 12 and 18-hour shift or whatever it is. You're able to maintain that, right? And I feel it's playing the long game here. We're not just in business for 2 weeks. For everyone, it's so different, but we need to be aware of these things. Life by design, I got from Mark Bradley, and he's like, it's life by design, because if it was balanced, everything would be split equally. It's your own life. You're designing it, and make sure it's designed for how you want. Maybe it's more important to be with family at this season of your life a little bit more than the business. Protocols. Talking about this again, because it's so important. Avoid your feelings getting in the way. Knowing what your higher self means. Your higher self, have trust in him. Your 4 a.m., you set the alarm the night before. When it's 4 a.m., you don't want to get up. Trust what you're saying to yourself the night before. We had to throw some David Goggins in here. I think this is great. Most wars are lost within our own heads. Using other people's standards, I feel the bar is set so low. Like, the normal has been so lowered now. And for us to get exposed to that, right? Like, going away, seeing other things, seeing how other operations run is super cool to see what's actually possible, right? Like, what are other guys doing? Perfect example is like running, right? There's 2 different sides of the spectrum. If guys running slower or guys running faster. And if you're wanting to speed up, just train with some faster dudes. The same with business. The same with how people are running their personal life. Get around people, see what they're doing. Schedule. The power of preparation, I feel, is so overlooked. And we have this amazing tool called our calendar that not many of us use. The planning of the night before for when we have a big day, of writing down what we need to do, visualizing what needs to happen. So we're thinking of what needs to get done, not in the middle of the day thinking, oh, what should I do next? What should I do next? It's already in place by your higher self, not by the guy who's tired and pissed off the next day. Actually, going back to that, so our team meetings, we have every Monday. And I used to just show up. We'd talk about the last week, talk about what's going on this week, some lessons, some thoughts. And it wasn't getting received well. I was like, what's going on? What are we doing here? What can we change? And we started preparing. We started getting a summary on that Friday when it was still fresh, Friday the week before. We'd practice a little bit on the weekend. And we'd come Monday and we'd talk, and we'd actually get some feedback from the guys. We'd get them to talk, be prepared and know what we're going to say, be concise. And it was crazy how much more effective it is when we actually know what we're talking about. Measuring our employees, but not ourselves. Again, the excuse of we're the owner. I think you have to look at yourself in the mirror at the end of the day of, would I have fired myself? Did I give everything that I had in me? And money is often talked quite often, but I feel it needs to be found. If you're to get that $50 million exit or get the money, why else are we doing this? The money shouldn't be it. I feel it's the person that I get to become on my way to creating a $10 million business or whatever it is a lot more powerful. Time audits. Again, going back to our schedule, how important it is. What are we able to find out through time audits? And it's crazy how much wasted time we do, or lower level task we're doing, like filling up a jerry can or running around, maybe swapping to the guy's flat tires or whatever it is, putting out fires. It shouldn't happen. You're the owner and you're there to push the needle, be the visionary, be the leader, not do all the stuff that doesn't move the business. So this is from Dan Martell, audit, transfer, fill. You're going to audit your schedule. You're going to transfer the task to someone else who should really be doing it. And then you're going to fill it with higher level tasks that you should be doing as the owner. Our daily reflection, I think this is huge. This has been huge for me and our management staff all year. And personally, at the end of the day, I like to dump all the lessons that we learned. How did the day go? What did we learn? Get it out of my head. And so we're able to see patterns. We're able to go back and see what happened, see what we're able to learn. We're able to track things. We're able to see employee behaviors, see what it means. What does a good hire look like? Maybe these few attributes in the interview process were great. Let's look out for those again. Or maybe not. Maybe we know what a red flag is. Production summary, summarizing our output and production. We're going to create our own pressure, understand resets and protocols, can't improve what we don't measure, and audit our time, audit our schedule. We only have 24 hours. How can we become the best within our limited time? Clarity. So we're talking about output, production. If we don't have clarity on what the bigger picture is, how do we know we're going the right way? What if we're driving backwards? We're not going towards the right thing, not leading the team, not making the right equipment purchases, or running on the right CRM. Goals, I feel, is really, really what can help guys with this. The type of clients we can attract, what are we really pushing towards, the type of people, type of equipment that we're buying, what type of talent are we bringing on, what type of management style are we looking towards, right? Like, what's our mission? What's our vision statement? Where are we going to be in 5 years? Has anyone ever heard the woman in the red dress analogy? Anyone? The woman in the red dress. She probably looks really good. She's probably hot, maybe a little bit better than your wife from the outside. We don't realize she's got 3 different kids from 3 different fathers, right? She's fucked up. And we're chasing these squirrels, chasing these women in the red dresses. But we can't just focus on what we're here to do, right? We can have everything, just not all at the same time. Why don't you become the best at what we're here to do? Put your head down and do it. There's always these new opportunities that are going to come up, but it's how we say no to them because we have clarity on where we're going to be in 5-10 years. Interested versus committed. So I was at a breakfast with my buddy's grandpa the other day, and he was explaining the difference between interested and committed. The way of bringing this up was the chicken to get these eggs, he was interested, but the pig for the bacon, that pig was committed. And I think if we're going to do things and do them very, very well, we really need to go all in. Having standards and making sure our standards are clear, whether it's subs we're bringing on, whether it's new hires or existing hires. What is the standard to work at this company? In your company, but also personally. We'll summarize clarity super quick. So knowing our goals, what are we prioritizing? Being transparent with our roadmap and where we're trying to get. And say no. Purpose. So we have clarity, but if we don't know where we're going or our why or what's going to push us, right? If we have $50 million exit, what's going to keep us going? Money shouldn't be the issue or the reason. Me, I struggled with this early on. That's all I wanted. As a kid, I was 13, 14 years old. I bought this truck. And once I got that truck, it was really, really rough. Quite a rut, a plateau, because that's all I was working for. The next spring, we started super late. We started the end of April because I didn't care. Like, whatever. It was just clients calling us now. I wasn't chasing anything. And opened my eyes to that. There's a bigger reason why we're doing this. Same with, this is my buddy, Aaron. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of Hush. They're weighted blankets. They're out of Toronto, this company. They had a $48 million exit in 48 months. They sold to Sleep Country. And this past summer, he had his worst season of his life ever. It was tough. He hit rock bottom. He lost his dream car. His house in Toronto got robbed. And he really had to find why he was doing this. What got him out of bed every day? Money's not an issue anymore. What's driving him? And now it's super cool what they're doing. They have this called the Founders Club. They put entrepreneurs and like-minded people together. They have very fancy dinners and educate people. That's what fires him up, educating people. So for all of us, of what is that why? What's the purpose? Is it for our employees, our family, for a spouse, right? A last name. And realizing that the journey is the fun part, and this is the part that we're able to continue to do. Regardless if we hit that goal or not, it's the journey, the everyday, the game that we get to play that is super, super cool. The constant push, the challenge, the struggle, the eating shit. That's super, super fun. Life by design. Again, this is getting brought up. Priorities will vary, but our life by design in different seasons needs to be clear to us. Whether it's we're spending more time with the kids in this season of our life, or the business is struggling, a lot of times going towards that. But knowing how to split up your days and being transparent with that for yourself, your wife, your team, right, is important. Don't quit today, just quit tomorrow, right? Just go one more day. And stacking wins is so important in the purpose of why we're doing it. What are we working towards, right? Just get out of bed. Just go one more. Just show up at the gym. Just go one more. Show up at work. Just make it to lunch. Just make it to the bed that I made in the morning. And knowing that we have so much more inside of us is super, super cool. Turning pro. Again, athletes have a great excuse to be dialed in on everything in their life. But as business owners, some of us don't look at it this way. Some of us only look at the time that we're at work, how are we doing, but not the time when no one looks at us. We've gone through so many Google Ads guys. Like, it's been crazy because guys are like, they're so shit. And it took us so long to find some good guys. But it wasn't so much the results, it was just dealing with them was a pain in the ass. The response times, their professionalism, they would take our 2-hour meetings and learn the numbers themselves with me, opposed to spending 2 hours before knowing what they're going to talk about and helping us move the needle on the call. It was like just do better. I pay you a lot of money. You're so sloppy. You're so bad. So our guy Seth is amazing. We finally found a good guy, and he's working with a digital or a direct mailer company. The direct mailer company is doing about $50 million. He's working for them as a sub. And on the side, he just helps businesses and like charges for it. But I asked him, why do you do so much? Like, why, what fires you up? Why is your professionalism so high? And his response was he just competes with who he was the day prior. And he's a competitive guy, and that fires him up every day. And that's his purpose. That's what it is for him. This is like the oldest thing ever, and all you guys have heard. But listen to your grandparents. Listen to people and be on time. Your employees looking at you when you show up late. Your clients. The chaos that you create by being late. The stress. Like, it doesn't make sense. Just be on time. You know? Now, the level of detail of how far in guys go with this, right? Like, guys are crazy measuring their food. I think that's nuts, but it works. It's great. Like, the level of professionalism, and maybe that's worth it if you're a bodybuilder, right? What time are you having your caffeine? What time are you going to bed? How much sleep are you getting? What time are you working out? It's different for everyone, but we really, really can analyze and study our life by design and figure out what's going to give us the biggest output in the long run. Our business isn't going to be here forever, and hopefully you do something sick, sell it, or pass it on to someone else who's running it, but you're going to be stuck with yourself for the rest of your life. The bottom here, your screen time, unproductive, 15 minutes a day is 90 hours on the year, which is nuts, but it adds up. Okay, if you're asleep, wake up for this one. This one's important and changed a lot of what we've done this season. Manager versus maker time, and communicating this with your team. Our manager time, we accept we're not going to move the needle. We accept we're not going to push things forward, but we are accepting also that we're helping other people push things forward. We're helping our sales guy do better at what he's doing. We're helping our ops guy answer all his questions. We're putting out fires. We're just talking with people. One manager meeting in the middle of a maker time messes up the whole thing. Now with maker, doing deep work, pushing the needle, moving things forward, your phone's off, your earplugs are in, your door is locked, your windows are closed. Like, you're dialed in getting shit done. And your team knows when these blocks happen so they don't bug you. And every role is going to be completely different, right? Like, maybe you're more on the HR side of things and you're in more of a manager position. It's different for everyone, but understanding how powerful our schedule is to actually get shit done, it's really, really cool. And oftentimes we're all overlooking it. The urgency that we move at, the speed of our decisions, how fast are we moving the business forward or moving forward personally as well. The commitment to your word, experience of working with you. Again, you shouldn't be a headache both personally and professionally. You shouldn't be a pain in the ass to deal with. You shouldn't be a pain to be around. Not always being late, right? Doing what you say you're going to do. If we don't take accountability, if it's not our fault, then we don't have the power to change it. We don't have the power to be able to improve on it, right? If we're taking accountability for things, even if it fully wasn't in our control, we're still able to offer solutions and change. Summarizing this, rushed is not fast. Being smooth is. Be smooth with how you move, with how you operate, with how you deal with clients, how you deal with your family and your guys. Promptness, your variables. What are we actually able to control and study, and how deep can we really go? Like, I was talking to one of our clients as a fitness coach, and he goes so in depth on not putting his hot food in plastic containers. And at first I thought it was crazy. And it's like, yeah, like we're invincible. Nothing's going to touch us or deal with us. But it all adds up. And that's a very extreme example. I don't have comments on that yet. The same with guys not wearing clothes that have plastic in them. Like, I think that's nuts. But it's so crazy how in depth you can go with things, right? Okay, our big five. We're going to quickly summarize here and leave you guys with some actionable steps. Your health, production, what are we actually outputting as the business owner? Our clarity on our purpose. Where are we driving things? What's the why to why we're doing it? And being professional, being pro. Are we conscious of what we're consuming? Our sleep schedule. Is that consistent? Are we working on it? I know guys that are plowing, this messes me up as well. It really fucks you up. But listen to your alarm and get dialed back in, right? Exercising, moving your heart rate. Production and output. Increase what you're doing, use your schedule, use your resets, your protocols, right? Go away, refresh yourself, your time audits, use our calendars, our daily reflections. And talking about daily reflections, how we've done it, and all of our managers this year as well, is the end of the day or before they leave the office, they write down what they've been able to learn, what they've done today, or what hard lessons, or what punched them in the face that day. Going back to protocols of mine, like going before bed, I know that I need to have a tea to calm me down. I know that I need to dump everything that's in my head, all those lessons, just write it down. Just get it out of your head. You're going to bed not to think, you're going to bed to sleep. And the last thing of visualizing and planning what the next day is has been huge. You should know what you're going to do the next day so you can actually produce it, not going through the day figuring out what the hell I'm doing. For clarity, we need to understand where we're going, where we're pushing things. Our high-level decisions are very, very accurate. Whether it's buying equipment, whether it's a financial decision, whether it's bringing talent on, right? And going back to that, as we measure all of our guys, our team, we should be measuring ourselves. Let's look at patterns. Let's see what happens. Let's see what works, what doesn't work. Knowing our purpose, right? Understand the journey of our day-to-day. You should be okay with that. You should be okay with the suck. This is just part of it. And we all have it so easy compared to a lot of other people, right? I was talking to a mentor of mine the other day. He was telling me his father's story of he was somewhere in Europe when he was born. He was trying to be like a brain surgeon or something. Then he went to France because there was a war happening or something. Didn't speak French. He went to the medical school there, and it's quite a longer process there compared to here. It took him 3 times just to pass like the first year or something. He then moved to Belgium. He had to do it again in a different language. Finally ended up over in the States. None of that even mattered. Those 4 or 5 years, a lot of people would be like, what the fuck? That's a waste. He's like, no problem. I'm not much closer. Great. She was working minimum wage in America. He finally got it. Opened a clinic. It was great. He was finally starting to make a little bit more money than his wife at the time. He didn't legalize it. They didn't get insurance for it. Then him and the wife got divorced. She locked the doors on him and his clinic. So he had these clients. He couldn't do anything for them. He had the skill that he had just learned and taught himself. So he went back to working minimum wage and figured out how to build the damn thing himself. It was $250,000 that he didn't have to build the facility. So he figured it out himself. and then worked his way back up after a lot of people hated him. His reputation was lost. My point here is we have it very, very easy to be able to experience a lot of these super cool lessons that there's no course that could teach us, no school that could teach us a lot of this day-to-day eating shit of running a business. Becoming pro, having a strict routine to become the best, to output the most, to produce the most, to do the most. There's a lot inside of us that we actually can do. Our minds we're often tripping over. They're often getting in our way. Our life by design, like what do we actually want? What are our priorities? Understanding our calendar, manager versus maker time, accountability, but also calendar audits. Thank you guys. Appreciate you listening. Any questions? Anyone? If anything pops up, come to me outside. That's it. Get to work. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Charlie. On behalf of Landscape Ontario, I'd like to offer you this as a thank you for your effort and time here today. And for everybody else, please enjoy the trade show floor and have a good day.